This is the Pastor's Report for June 26, 2020. Again, this is a way for me to personally share some things with you, especially things that are going on at the parish. If you'd like to keep up with parish news, please subscribe to our YouTube channel by clicking on the subscribe button below. So let me start with some scheduling news. This coming Friday, July 3, is a First Friday. There will be a 7 p.m. Mass followed by benediction and First Friday devotions to the Sacred Heart of Jesus. I hope to do a video on First Fridays and what they mean and why they're important, hopefully before this coming First Friday or before the one in August. On Sunday, July 12, at the noon Mass, we will be bringing some of our RCIA candidates into the church. Of course, we were supposed to do that at the Easter Vigil this past April, so our class has been waiting patiently, and now we are finally able to do it. So I wanted to let you know about that. Number one, to remind you to keep them in your prayers. And number two, for those who would like to be at the Mass, to support them. It's not going to be quite like the Easter Vigil, but there will be baptisms and confirmations, so the Mass will be a little longer. So again, that's Sunday, July 12 at the noon Mass. Saturday, July 18, will be the last Saturday, 7 p.m. Mass. Archdiocesan guidelines now allow us to have 50% capacity. More on that later. It was originally 25%, and so to spread the crowds out a little more, we added the 7 p.m. Mass. But now, with the increased capacity limit, there isn't as much of a need for the extra Mass. Plus, we haven't had a lot of people coming to that 7 p.m. Mass, sometimes only about 25 people or so. So July 18 will be the last day for the Saturday 7 p.m. Mass. So on those updates on the guidelines from the Archdiocese, as I mentioned earlier, capacity limits have been increased to 50%. The same guidelines about face coverings and physical distancing are still in effect, so please keep those in mind. For non-liturgical indoor events, meetings for example, we are still capped at 10 people. For outdoor events, 100 people is the limit, and physical distancing is still to be observed. I'll put a link to those guidelines below. On a related note, originally there were guidelines also on limiting the amount of singing at Masses. Number one, because it's hard to sing with those masks on, but also because singing, especially singing loudly, is more vigorous than regular talking. And so it was suggested to limit the amount of singing to prevent what they're calling excessive aerosol transmission. So anyway, that's why we were to limit the amount of singing. Well, those guidelines have been relaxed somewhat, so we'll have a little more singing beginning this weekend. Mostly what we call the ordinary parts of the Mass, the things that don't change from Mass to Mass, the Gloria, the Sanctus, the Agnus Dei, and so forth. Still no hymns though, so the hymnals and missalettes won't be in the pews. This means, unfortunately, that our missalettes have just been sitting in storage. Well, instead of collecting dust, they can still be put to good use. So if you would like to take one or a few of the missalettes home, please feel free to do so. They'll be available at each of the entrances of the church. So again, feel free to take one or two or a few. You can use them for your personal prayer. You can read the readings on your own before Mass. You can even bring them with you to Mass. But those are yours. No need to bring them back. The missalettes are good until August 8. Now, I know a lot of people like to use the missalettes to follow along with the readings at Mass. And so having your own copy of the missalette hopefully will be helpful to you. There are also some other ways that you can do that, some other resources that you can use to follow along at Mass. As I said, you can take a missalette home and bring it with you to Mass. There are also some other resources that you can get to help you follow along at Mass. For example, you can pick up A Word Among Us, for a small donation in the main vestibule. Some of you subscribe to the Magnificat. You can see there the Magnificat. And this is a great resource, not only to help you prepare for Mass, but there are also a lot of nice meditations. You can also get your own daily missal. This is one that I have from Midwest Theological Forum, also Scepter Publishers. So I like this one a lot. The Catholic Book Publishing Company makes a Sunday missal as well, and it has all the readings and prayers in it. There's also a daily missal for the Tridentine Mass. This is my St. Andrew daily missal, so you can see that there. And so there are other kinds as well. I'll put links to all of those in the description. I also want to remind you about our Parish App, because that's a very important tool that we have as well. And there's a new feature on that app that can help you follow along at Mass. So let's take a look. Okay, so now I'm at the home screen of our Parish App. And if you'll notice, in the top row, the second button over, you have a new button called Worship. And so if you click on that, it'll open up this screen, and you'll see that it already has the next 3 Sundays in the screen. You have the 13th Sunday in Ordinary Time, which is this coming weekend. You have the 14th Sunday, and then the 15th Sunday. So if you click on either of those, it'll take you to the readings and all the prayers for that particular Mass. So let's click somewhere here for the 13th Sunday in Ordinary Time, and it opens it up, and you'll see that it says here, tap here and rotate your phone. So that rotate your phone part is optional, but if you tap here, it will open up your PDF viewer. And then, as you can see, it has all of the prayers and the readings for the 13th Sunday in Ordinary Time. Now, if you do rotate your phone, it'll just put your phone in landscape, and it'll make the font a little bigger. Of course, you can always do the whole pinch and zoom thing to make the font bigger. But you'll see it has all the prayers, and then probably what most people are interested in are the readings. So you have the first reading here from 2 Kings, and then you have the responsorial psalm here. Forever I will sing the goodness of the Lord. And then you have the second reading from Romans, St. Paul to the Romans. And then, of course, the Gospel according to St. Matthew. And it has the creed and everything else here. So you can use this to follow along at Mass. And alternatively, you can also click on this arrow right here. You'll see that there. And if you click on that, it'll open up another page. And as you can see, it opens it up to the 13th Sunday in Ordinary Time, and it says the same thing here. Tap here and rotate your phone, and that'll download the file that will show you all the prayers and the readings. So there you go. That's new as of today, and you can use that also to follow along at the readings at the Mass. So as you can see, it's on the main page here. Top row, second button over. Good. So I hope that helps you. Now I want to move on to an update on the families of parishes. There's a meeting for all priests this coming week, and hopefully we'll get more information there. The timeline is from now until October to finalize the families, and then the Archbishop will announce them in the first week of Advent. This will be done, this whole thing, in 2 waves, with the first wave taking effect next summer and the second wave in 2022. More than likely, the families will be pretty regional, parishes that are in the same area, and that's probably going to be the case with us as well. And then once those families have been formed, it's really going to be about how do the parishes work together. Now, canon law actually brings up the possibility of priests working in solidum as a team, essentially. Pastors are pastors, but one pastor in the team serves as a kind of moderator who answers to the diocese regarding what's going on at the family of parishes and represents the family of parishes in anything involving church law. There's some thought that that's going to be the model that we're going to follow here in the Archdiocese. We'll have to see. It's really too early to guess what's going to happen, but just continue to keep our parish and school in your prayers. This month's Drift has an article which addresses some of the questions that people have, so I'd encourage you to take a look at that. And as I find out things, I'll certainly pass those along to you. Finally, Monday is final exam day, so if you remember, please say a prayer for me. And then the next round of classes begins on Tuesday, so no rest, no slowing down. That's all for now. Looking forward to another great weekend and seeing all of you at Mass. Have a great weekend, and God bless you.